Hey, welcome back. I am so glad you are sticking with us here. NEWH Leadership Conference from Denver. Once again, I'm Glenn Hausmann. I have with us really cool guy, Corey Nyman. I've known this guy forever, so forgive me if I get a little too friendly with him. I might just hug him. You never know. Sweet. That's the kind of relationship we have. But Corey, I think it's really excellent that you're here because you're adding a new, different dimension to it. You're talking about food and beverage. A lot of times when we talk about design in this industry, we get caught up with the rooms and the public space and don't think enough about food and beverage, right? So what are some of the things that you're hoping to share with the audience tomorrow and get them to really understand how important that dynamic is as well?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to really think operations.
Right.
And is it functional?
Mm-hmm.
Can we run an operation? Can we do front of house? Can we do back of house? And can it really integrate with what has been designed, the flow and the floor plan and the look and the feel? And if we're going to have a water feature, who's maintaining that water feature? If we have a fire feature, is it safety? Is it safe? And we're going through all these things. And so we really want to make sure we integrate it into, does it make sense for the food product and the beverage product we're going to put out there?
Right.
Does it match up with the service style we're going to put out there? And also, does the guest want it? Are they really demanding something along those lines?
Yeah, do you sometimes feel that people forget about that? It seems a lot of times it's about the ownership and profitability, but sometimes the experience aspect gets a little lost.
Well, 100%, but sometimes we're overthinking the experience.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. And most times this is not brain surgery. This is not life and death most times. We're trying to throw a party every night. We're trying to serve food and drink and really give people a great experience. At the end of the day, they want three things. They want their water glass full, they want their hot food hot and their cold food cold, and they want a clean bathroom. Yeah. And if it looks good along the way, fantastic, that much better. Yeah. So if we can add through the aesthetics and the feeling and the vibe and really say, you know what, if it's cold and dark, okay, do we need to brighten it up with food? Yep. If it's light and bright, do we need to change what's on the plate? And so not only is it design of what's on the, in the room and the windows and the walls and all that, what's on the tabletop? Yeah. What's there? What's the look? Are we going with white china? Are we going with plexiglass? Are we going with resin? All these different things. And then does the food match up to those colors? And is it really aesthetically pleasing all the way throughout? And then can we deliver on the experience?
Whew, that's a whole lot to digest all at once, but
that's true.
So the Nyman Group has been around for, I'd say, 30, 40 years?
We're about 35 years.
35 years. All right, so I was just
you're close. You're right there. You're right there.
They've consulted with pretty much all the big players in the hospitality industry, none of which I can mention on camera because they wouldn't like that, and I don't know because you've never told me, actually.
Well, we don't.
I've got, I kind of understand where you've been. So you've really been part of crafting a lot of the aspects of this industry with food and beverage. Now, I want to go back to the experience thing because we're entering this crazy world of technology, right?
Yes.
But food and beverage is the anti-technology. It's the way we really connect. So do you think about design a little bit differently now that it's becoming the preeminent way of bringing people together?
100%.
Yeah.
So it goes back to being all about hospitality.
Right.
And we talk about these ideas of, you can have an iPad, you can have a tablet in front of you, you can order and never have to talk to someone.
Right.
But what happens when the food doesn't come out? Or what happens, well, you know what? Hey, look, I was in an airport recently. There's a menu all the way plastered everywhere. But I looked at my tablet.
Right.
Not the same menu. So it's a disconnect. So it really goes into, let's blend the technology with the idea of hospitality.
Right.
It goes back to consistency. We really need to make sure whatever we're offering to that guest, it's consistent in message, in look, in feel, and then let's deliver on it time and time again because you never know who's there on a Sunday night at 6 p.m. or a Friday night at 8 p.m. So if we're going to be open 365 days a week and we're going to do all these things, and let's deliver on the promise of hospitality. And so if we can blend that with the technology and how to maximize technology, whether it's LED lights and making sure, hey, we've got it on a timer system, whether it's a POS system, we can maximize that, whether it's a wall and LED changing color, whatever it is, and make sure, okay, well, you know what? It's music. I mean, all these things come together and really make a difference into giving that guest that experience. At the end of the day, three things. Yeah. Three very, very basic things.
Three things. Same again. 1, 2, 3, so they can remember.
1, 2, 3. Hot food hot, cold food cold. Clean bathroom, and a water glass.
I love that. Okay, so the next thing is, this guy lives in Las Vegas, so, you've managed restaurants in Las Vegas. You've really been part of that culinary scene there.
Too.
Right, really? I didn't know that about you.
Well, you discover something.
You learn something all the time here. That's why you're watching, to learn great things like he was a cook. So, all right, so what I want to know is, I think Las Vegas is fundamentally a few years ahead when it comes to trends. What are some of the indicators that you're seeing of the next era of change?
Well, it's funny you mention that. We're ahead in some senses and we're behind in others.
Really?
Because a lot of times people when they come to Las Vegas, that's what used to happen in the 70s, the 80s in New York City. People would go to New York to discover. Yeah. And now everyone's going to Las Vegas, so some of the tried and true concepts are coming to Las Vegas. And you have an operator who's worked in other cities, and now it's being brought in. So instead of having a 50-seat restaurant in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, now they have a 150-seat restaurant in Center Strip. That being said, it's all about pushing that envelope. You're spot on. Yeah. So whether it's in a beverage program, whether it's a design aesthetic, whether it's dishes for two, whether it's a water feature. I mean, we've got all these great things. I mean, there's a restaurant recently opened that's got 6 kitchens and it's one restaurant.
What?
6 kitchens.
Why would you need so many kitchens?
Well, because it's specificity.
Right.
So it's being able to offer the guests all these different things. I mean, one of the things that we saw too many years ago, and this happened early 90s, and it's a tried and true method, is using the cafe and fine dining system.
Right.
So because we have a changing demographic and changing psychographics in diners and the way they're eating, some nights they want to have the casual experience.
Yeah.
While other nights they want to have the more formal and fine dining experience.
That's right.
And so then we go into entertainment dining.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing. This is happening around the country. Entertainment dining. Guests, instead of having to go, and they'll bounce, they'll go from 1 to 2 to 6 different places in a night, and that's fine. But if you can offer to the guests, you're going to have dinner with us, you have some drinks, maybe we have some music, maybe we have some dancing, maybe we have an arcade, maybe whatever it is, and you can keep the guests for, instead of that hour and a half, for that 2 and a half, 3, 4 hour experience, and then the check rises, and they're going to want to come back. Right. Because they know they can use you at different times and different nights, whether it's Friday, the Monday, the family, the girls' night out, the weekend, date night, whatever it is. So it's really the flexibility in dining. That's the biggest thing we're seeing in Las Vegas, where it's making sure, I can offer multiple experiences under one roof.
I love that. And I think one thing that was doing it great was Rose Rabbit Lie. I don't know what they're doing now, but I went there in their initial iteration. Right. And I love that you could go from different room to different room. You could have a full meal. You can go and be in like a speakeasy kind of scenario. And then there was an entertainment aspect layered on top of that. And that really kept you there.
It did. And, they've gone through their different iterations, but in the building that's located in, you have a casino and a hotel, and it's Manhattanization where it's top down. Yep. It's all there. Other places, other resorts, you can go the entire way. But because it's just like New York, it's the density. Right. If you don't do something right, you can go to the next place or offer that different experience. Offer that, hey, it's a once in a lifetime experience. Great, I did it once. What else do I do? Yeah. Why do I want to go back? So you need to make sure if you're going to offer that once in a lifetime experience, what makes it special from that point on, and why should I go back? And so we talk about restaurants, we talk about hospitality venues. Is it enough to say I'm going to go once a year? Right. That's it.
Yeah. There's that steakhouse in my neighborhood that I go to once a year because it's going to be $500 for my family.
Right, exactly. But and then sometimes we talk about the bar and grills. We talk about the casual places. Like, you know what? I'm going to have a burger tonight. I'm going to have a Caesar tonight. And you know what? You're going once every 2 weeks. Or you're going, on Monday with the kids and the family, and you're going on a date night, with the wife. So it's that flexibility of what we can offer in hospitality. Right. And then the beautiful thing is that's where it matches up with design, because we want to make sure that we're bringing it back to, okay, it looks this way tonight. Can it change in look? And is it expensive? Right. Can I use curtains? Can I use shears? Can I use movable walls? Can I use movable tables, dividers, all these different things?
And that's so important, especially in traditional hotels that we're seeing. You need to maximize that space, and different day parts means a different type of energy you want to create within the room.
100%. And we've seen it for many years in hotels in major city centers where they had one restaurant, and they had one restaurant and one bar. They also had one coffee place. Right. Sometimes the coffee place turned into the bar. Yeah. So the challenge was always, how did you turn the bar where I was drinking a glass of wine at night and having my burger, the next morning getting my cafe Americano? So that's where design really comes in, and the feeling and the aesthetic and the color scheme and the look and the music, all these things. So if we know we have a fixed space, we've got this, say we have this box. Yep. How do we address that box? How do we we're not going to change the chairs every night. We're not going to change the tables, but do we use tablecloths or do we not use tablecloths today? Do we go with walls? Do we go movable? All these little things, all these little tweaks, these little hints that will help us.
And the great thing is I've seen so much growth with all of the suppliers in the industry that are creating such exciting new and innovative products that allow the design community to be more flexible and be more innovative.
Oh, very much so. And we also, for us, it's not just about those four walls. To say, what else do we have? Do we have a patio space? Right. Can we use, if we're Las Vegas and it's 115 degrees in the middle of July and August, can I be outside? Is it the misters? Do we have another way? Do we have lighter materials? And then suddenly people forget there's winter in Las Vegas. So it gets cold. It gets 30. It gets 34 degrees. Yeah. So do I have that ability to say I can use a heater where I also have a mister? Right. And then do I want to use a fire pit there? And so it's really being able to flex. And now, there's a fantastic restaurant, Center Strip right now. it's got as many seats outside as it does inside.
That's awesome.
And they're known for their weekend brunches. And people will sit outside the middle of winter with the heaters on. And we see that around the country. It just depends. I mean, if you say, hey, I'm going to be in the mountains, we happen to be in Denver, Colorado. You know what? Right now, it's 72 degrees outside.
It's crazy.
Fantastic. But you know what? The mountains are cold.
Yeah.
And I just got a photo from a friend. He's up there. He's freezing. But you know what? He's sitting outside next to a fire pit.
Right.
So, and then come summer, okay, he's going to stay at night, it's going to cool down, okay, let's get the fire pit going again. So it's really looking at how can we maximize the space we have and then look to some non-traditional areas where it's like, you know what, I have a pool, great. The pool come, winter, I might not be able to use it. Can I tent it? Can I use different materials? Can I provide guests with blankets? All these little things, okay, what's our maximization of that area? Yeah. And then is it cost-benefit analysis? At the end of the day, no matter what, it goes back to the ROI. We want to deliver on the guest service. We want to deliver on the promise, but we have to make money. And we have to make money for the owners.
Wow.
And for everyone who are involved.
Well, I think we just got about an hour's worth of content in about 15 minutes, which I love. That stuff makes me happy. Any final words?
Keep learning, keep asking questions, and don't stop. We are just at the beginning of our industry.
And that's what the NEWH is all about, getting together, learning, communicating, sharing great ideas. I look forward to hearing what this guy has to say on stage tomorrow. And I look forward to you guys sticking around, and we'll be back with more interviews right after this. Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be our final interview of today. I'm with the COO and president of Marcus Hotels. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Joe Coralla, I should say. I want to get into the conversation. I'm so excited to talk to this guy. I forget. So I love what you guys are doing over at Marcus. It's really interesting. And if you've been following our coverage all day long, you saw us together on stage at the opening panel that we had today. And boy, I found that really a fascinating, fun experience. It was great to see everybody learning out there.
That was a great experience. And what I felt was really interesting, it brought many different points of views from different people.
Right.
And so I pictured myself sitting in the audience and hearing experts talk about different topics, so it was very engaging, I felt.
That's fun.
We got a lot of laugh out of it.
That really, forget the educational aspect of it, as long as people are laughing, then I'm happy. Sadly, they're usually laughing at me, but that's a story for another podcast, my Therapy with Glenn podcast. But all right, so for the terms of this video, you're here, you're at the NEWH, it's your first experience with the organization, but you've been here all day. So what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Lots of people to meet.
Yeah.
Great exchanges of ideas, from the design to business trends, to also what is the future of the industry, a little bit of a political conversations going on. So I feel like this is a great area, a great conference for people to network, share ideas, and then when they go home with more information than they had.
And that's what's really important. Too many events that I go to are just let's talk about the weather and not really get into the serious issues. And what I like is I'm talking to you, and even though you're with a public company, you've been very open and talking about lots of really interesting stuff. So how are you seeing some of the trends that are going on in the general industry in terms of customer behavior that are maybe making you think a little bit about the evolution of your business?
That's a great question. Obviously, there's your typical hotel, and that runs the gamut from full service to select service. But you also have the Airbnb factor. So all of these issues have been impacting our industry in general. At the end of the day, we should not forget that we're in the hospitality business, that we're there to serve guests. And so we've been clamoring to try to figure out what does the guest want. And we've talked often about a guest like you, for instance, wants something in one city.
Oh, I definitely want something.
And wants something else in a different city.
That's right.
Or something else in a different country.
I don't know how you deal with something like that, because when I travel, I'm traveling for different reasons every single time, and therefore my goals for the experience are going to be different. And me, as a typical consumer, I'm just figuring you guys got it all figured out.
And I wish we do.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is to engage with your customers and try to figure out what they want at that moment when they're staying with you. I heard one of the brands talking about the future of travel, and I found that very interesting. And what they were talking about is that ideally in the future, what will happen would be a customer would load their preferences in some sort of an app. And then if they have a place to go, a city to go visit, they will plug in that city. And the application, based on the preferences, would serve up to them the type of hotel that meets their preferences, the type of meal, the type of amenity. And I found that very interesting. No one has really conquered that yet.
Right.
But at the core of thing is what? This personalization. I know you said today that you hate that word.
Yeah, well, more experience, because it's so...
Experience,
right.
true.
But I think we're entering an era of mass personalization, and that's the idea of creating highly curated experiences on an individualized basis, but for a lot of people all at once. That's so tough.
And knowing that these personal things, as I mentioned, change. They change by age, they change depending on what country you're in. So it's a tough act tough nut to crack, but there's no shortage of effort being put in it.
So is there anything that you're doing specifically that you feel comfortable sharing about how you're trying to heighten that experience personalization factor for your guests?
The big thing for us at Marcus Hotels is that we try to connect our hotels to the community, be it a historic hotel that we own and manage or a select service hotel. You have to find things that make the hotel relevant in the community. Once you're known for that, I think that's the secret sauce for you getting the right business. So I mentioned this morning on the panel as we talked art. Art is a big thing. Technology is a big thing. I mentioned the augmented reality application that we have. So anytime you can create a story for people to come see, come talk about, come share on social media, then you have really served that purpose of being a good attraction. And the whole thing is, there's tons of competition out there. So how do you separate yourself from it? You have to make it relevant for that end user.
That's right. And that's a great lesson to take away, is it's not just about creating that personalized experience for the person on site, but it's also getting that person so engaged that they need to share it and be fervently excited about getting it out there and spreading the word, because there's so much clutter out there in the world, especially when it comes to marketing, that the only way to connect really is through those social networks, so getting people to pre-approve you, and that gets them to at least pay attention to you, right?
I've heard and studied that if there's an emotional connection for the end user, they will use your product. If it means nothing to them emotionally, they may use it once or twice. And the same applies to us in the hotel. If people find an emotional connection, be it with the staff, with the product, with the experience or the services you're offering, then they will talk about you, they will go home and tell people about you, and they will come back and see you. If that emotional connection is non-existent, it's a one visit.
And to me, it's really a situation of, you've got to have that great design element to get people to feel like they want to be there, but you need absolutely more than ever, I'd say, to have a staff that is going to make a personal connection with each and every guest. Because as much as we love the design of hotels, we go home with the moments that we shared with the people that operate the hotels.
We talk at Marcus about, we have a say that says, our ordinary day is someone's extraordinary day. And as an example, this could be the 50th wedding that this banquet server is working. So to him or her, this is an ordinary task. They've done it before. But to that bride, that's her wedding. This is the one and only wedding that matters. And so we always I have to always be cognizant that what's ordinary to you has to be extraordinary for others, or people coming to you with extraordinary things that you have to deliver on.
It's kind of like, I would say, like going to Broadway theater. I'm spending all of this money, and I expect those guys to turn in the best performance of their lifetime when I'm there.
Absolutely. If you have if you can figure out how to get your employees to be emotionally engaged, try to make a difference, then you've succeeded. Because it's beyond the pillow and the mattress and the hot water. Everybody can provide it. But if your staff is emotionally engaged and connected with the customers, if you find these people, it's not something, in my humble opinion, that you can train. This is something that some people are born with.
I agree.
But if you can capture that and then hone it and get it out of people more and more, then you have succeeded.
Excellent. Any final words before we end this interview?
No, I'm very happy to be here. It's been a great experience, and anytime I get the chance to share my experience with people and learn from others, I welcome that, so thank you,
Well,
Glenn.
I had a great time working with you on stage this morning, and even more fun just now getting to know you here.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank all of you guys for watching our coverage all day long here at the NEWH Leadership Conference. I'm having such a great time, but they're telling me I got to go, so hopefully you guys will join us again tomorrow, and we really look forward to you being here and watching all this exciting action, both on stage and here with the interviews. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.